For 20 years, an Oregon-based Christian ministry group, 715 Ministries, a beacon of hope in downtown Portland, had served the city's most vulnerable. Warm meals, shelter for the homeless, job training, and after-school programs were lifelines offered without discrimination. But this simple act of love was under threat. The funding landscape for faith-based organizations had shifted. New regulations aimed at preventing discrimination based on sexual orientation had been enacted. While lauded by many, these regulations contained a caveat. Organizations receiving public funds could not discriminate in their hiring practices based on religious beliefs. For 715 Ministries, this presented a painful dilemma. The very core of their identity, the hiring of staff who shared their faith and values, was now a barrier to receiving the funds they desperately needed. The future of 715 Ministries, once a beacon of certainty in a turbulent world, was now shrouded in uncertainty. The heart of the issue lay in the clash between religious freedom and anti-discrimination laws. 715 Ministries argued that their hiring practices were protected under the First Amendment. They believed their right to operate according to their religious beliefs was paramount. Their legal team was prepared to fight for this right, taking the case as far as necessary. However, opponents argued that the use of public funds came with a responsibility to adhere to anti-discrimination laws. They argued that allowing religious organizations to discriminate in hiring using public funds effectively endorsed discrimination. This, they argued, was a dangerous precedent that could erode the very fabric of a just society. The debate raged on, both sides entrenched in their positions. 715 Ministries found themselves caught between their convictions and the law. Their commitment to their faith was unwavering, but so was their dedication to serving the community. This was not a theoretical debate for them. It was a real-life dilemma with tangible consequences for real people. The very people they had dedicated themselves to serving were now at risk of being let down. The impact of the funding crisis was immediate and far-reaching. 715 Ministries, once a bustling hub of activity, faced cutbacks. Programs were scaled back, staff hours were reduced, and the daily meal program, a lifeline for many homeless individuals, was under threat. The faces that had once looked upon the center with hope now reflected fear and uncertainty. The after-school program, a safe haven for children from disadvantaged backgrounds, saw its hours reduced. This meant that working parents, already struggling to make ends meet, had to find alternative childcare arrangements. For some, this meant leaving their children unsupervised, exposing them to the risks of the streets. The job training program, which had helped countless individuals regain their footing and find employment, was also affected. The program, once a beacon of hope for those seeking a fresh start, was now on hold, leaving its participants feeling lost and disillusioned. The funding crisis wasn't just theoretical, it was a cruel reality that was unraveling lives and eroding the community's safety net. It felt very much like a punch in the gut, Bud Amundsen, the executive director of the Christian youth mentoring nonprofit, said. He had dedicated his life to serving God and his community, and now both seemed to be slipping through his fingers. My hope and goal is to not reduce staff, which will reduce access for young people, Amundsen goes on to say. I've had a variety of emotions related to that, and probably the best thing I could say is, now it feels like we're very unappreciated, that our hard work has been basically tossed into the trash can simply because they disagree with our faith perspective. Jeremiah Gallus, senior counsel at the ADF, the Alliance Defending Freedom, said, the Supreme Court 3 times in a period of 7 years had to tell state officials, you cannot exclude religious organizations from your programs just because they're religious. But unfortunately, we see officials like the officials here in the state of Oregon who continue to push back and test those boundaries and try and find other ways to exclude religious organizations. It's wrong, Gallus added. At the end of the day, this isn't just a violation of 715's constitutional rights, which is bad enough, but it's actually hurting youth in Southern Oregon who are not able to access these services. 715 is not able to expand its programs to help more kids, and that's a tragedy, Gallus added. We at ADF want to make sure that 715 is not excluded from any future grant programs and that no other religious organization suffers the same religious discrimination that 715 has. The struggle of 715 Ministries reflects a broader debate raging across the nation. The delicate balance between religious freedom and non-discrimination is being tested in courtrooms and communities alike. The outcome of these battles will have far-reaching implications for the future of faith-based organizations and the communities they serve. The question at the heart of the matter is complex. Could religious organizations receive public funding while maintaining hiring practices that some considered discriminatory? And if they were denied funding, what would become of the vital services they provide? The answers are far from simple and requires a nuanced understanding of both religious freedom and the rights of all citizens. If faith-based organizations were forced to choose between their beliefs and their ability to serve, many would be forced to curtail their services or close their doors altogether. This would leave a significant gap in the social safety net, particularly in marginalized communities where such organizations often play a vital role. We need to recognize the vital role faith-based organizations play in our communities while ensuring that everyone has equal access to opportunities and services. Or perhaps it involves creating a framework that allows such organizations to maintain their religious identity while ensuring non-discrimination in service delivery. Whatever the solution, it must be found through collaboration, compassion, and a shared commitment to building a more just and equitable society. The future is in our hands. We have a special announcement. We're currently facing shadow banning on YouTube. Your likes and subscriptions can help us combat this. Stand up for free speech and help protect the free exchange of ideas online. Thank you for your support.